industry that's rigged. You could buy number ones. Everything is essentially programmed that you have to follow if you just want to be easily successful. What should they do if they have 200 followers? Yo, this is, by the way, before you even answer, I'm going to tell you why, and a lot of people like you tune into my live, and I know you don't have to like 6ix9ine. You don't have to like 6ix9ine. Let me tell you how I came up, just 20 seconds. I came up, I'm not a traditional media outlet. I came up from doing YouTube. I came up from creating something that didn't exist. A lot of people don't like me. Y'all could see last week, they tried to cancel me.
They can't cancel you.
When 6ix9ine is talking, and even me allowing this platform here, is because I'm trying to let y'all know what I've seen over the fucking curtain in the mountain. And when you hear an established, successful artist...
Look at this comment right here. Look at this comment.
It takes money to make money. That's what they said.
I'm telling you this. There's rappers that don't have a single dollar that can make it. But there's going to be a time when you needed somebody to shoot your video. There's somebody that is going to take time when you need somebody to edit your video. You need money to book studio time. You need money.
It's so interesting looking back at this video in hindsight, because it feels frustrating when I think the majority of the opinion here was, shut up, nigga. You're making excuses. Right? I'm going to save you guys a little bit of time. I'll cut this off, but I'll go to this other video that kind of came out later. And this is a video where 6ix9ine had dropped a song, and the song that he dropped didn't get number one. Okay? It actually fell short. Actually, did it get? No, it didn't get number one. I think Trolls was his first number one. And what happened was, I think it was either Justin Bieber or Ariana Grande song, or maybe it was both of them because they were competing for 1, 2, and 3. Last Minute took the spot. Now, again, this is not about 6ix9ine. Who gives a fuck? This is about what I've told y'all the industry is based on. And by the way, I know some of y'all are saying, but why are you saying this? Let's get to the thug shit. This is all going to connect. And this is for, I'm also speaking to Drake fans. When y'all say, oh, Ak, it's because UMG pays you. I want to tell you, you sound stupid. I'm saying the entire game is rigged. Drake's a part of the game. He's a part of the rigged game. You got to come in not playing the game for me to be like, okay, you're not doing a rigged. Everybody is in the rigged game. The Weeknd, Drake, Kendrick, everybody. Let's not make exceptions. Now, some might wild out more than some, but this entire game is rigged. I'm telling you, this is truth. Now, is it at times that, the record label, again, the point what I told y'all even about UMG, and it expands beyond UMG, Sony and Warner, it's their game. People keep celebrating the Drake lawsuit, say, we're going to expose the labels. How are you going to expose the game? You're trapped in the box. All y'all are trapped in the box. The only way Drake could ever expose the game is to go independent, but he won't. So you're not exposing the game. You can't expose the game but stay in the game. Doesn't work like that. You can't expose the game but stay in the game. Yo, it's rigged. Yo, they doing something behind the scoreboard, and yo, they got like a magnet on the ball and the rims of this. Great for you to say it. But if you still show up and shoot your threes, when your threes go in the rim, how you think it went in the rim? We don't know what's what. It's a rigged game. That's my point. It's a rigged game. But everybody's rigged. I hope y'all understand that. There is no innocent parties. And artists might think, and by the way, you're going to hear it when I get to the thug shit, because Gunna probably was beating his chest like, yeah, nigga. And you're going to hear Thug said, I paid for the shit. And you know what he said? I ain't even tell him. That's how it works. Anyway, let me play this. This is the last video. Again, this is not about 6ix9ine. Please don't make it about 6ix9ine. I know some of y'all be like, yo, that's your friend. You're trying to have him make a comeback. No. I've been trying to tell y'all what I've seen for years. And by the way, here's the thing. Me saying this, it doesn't change the game. And by the way, I'll tell y'all, I know the game is the game. I've accepted the game. I've accepted the game. I've accepted, I'll tell you how I accept the game. Because when I'm reporting numbers, I tweet out usually numbers every week. Probably 80% of them are fraudulent. Here's the thing. How could I go around it to find the real numbers? Spotify ain't going to tell me the numbers. Luminate works with Billboard. They also work with the labels. They're not. Everybody's in the game. The game is making money. So for everybody who think you're the right side of things, but your artist is still in the game, stop it. Remember, the game is the game. This was when they were trying to get 6ix9ine out the game. That's why I said he's like a dying star. And when you just watch a video of a dying star, it gets extremely bright before it goes dead. 6ix9ine, you got to remember, 6ix9ine used to have some of the craziest numbers. Now, if you ask him, honestly, he's going to say, nah, that's just because people love me. I'm Danny. We don't know. That's the point. We don't know. 6ix9ine had 2 million people, or is it 1 million people? I can't remember how much. 2 million people watch him on Instagram Live. Was that all real? I don't know. That's the point. And I know obviously say K-Boss and shit like that. Obviously, the point, Kendrick bodied the battle, clearly, right? Like, clearly. I'm not saying the songs weren't good, but he knew he had to defeat this nigga. Whatever. It's not about Kendrick. My whole point is the entire game is rigged. Travis got his finesse. Everybody got their finesse. And the great artist, you don't know what the finesse is. By the way, even when Jay-Z figured out the game, he got his finesse. He had Samsung buy 1 million copies before the shit dropped. Y'all remember this? The game is the game. So that's what I'll say about the music industry. So for y'all Drake fans, exposing the game means nothing because I'm exposing the game by saying it. But as long as you stay in the game, nothing happens. That's what you should know. Let me say this one more time. Exposing the game. This is not a secret. It's not a secret. It's not, exposing someone's like, yo, you fuck men, but nobody knew. Exposing the game. I told you this 5 years ago. I told you. 6ix9ine told you. There is exposing the game. Don't stop the game. The only time you could break the game is when you get outside the game. This is almost some Squid Game shit. I ain't gonna cap with you, but you can't. I bet any amount to any out. Drake ain't going independent. I don't care what this outcome of this lawsuit. He will still be on a major label. And if you're on a major label, you're playing the game. That's it. I don't care what it is. You might not like the favorites they pick at the time because the major labels do play favorites. It's Kendrick time. Fuck you, nigga. That's what they did. It's Kendrick time. Fuck you, nigga. You think you're bigger than the program, nigga. You think you bigger than the program, nigga. Fuck you. Yeah, they pick favorites. That's what happened. That's what happened. But I do know there's some delusional fans out there that think that you break the game by exposing the game, but still stay in the game. No. The game don't change and the rules don't change. Remember that. Anyway, this is not about me preaching. I'm going to play a little bit of this and then we're going to get to the thug thing and then we're going to break it down.
Listen, I want the world to know that Billboard is a lie. You can buy number ones on Billboard. I want that to register in your head. You can buy number ones on Billboard. Now let me tell you what happened. we was having an ongoing investigation just now. Silvio from Billboard, right? There's like probably 5 or 6 of them that come up with the charts with Nielsen and everything. Last Thursday, Ariana Was Stuck With You submitted 60,000 units last second. With the investigation, we found this. They purchased half of those things with 6 credit cards. When we asked where was those 6 credit cards linked to, Billboard said we can't disclose that information. Understand this. They bought 30,000 and so units with 6 credit cards. 6 credit cards. Now, again, you're going to enjoy your number one. Explain how you buy 30,000 with 6 credit cards, right? Now, let me explain to you something. They don't want, Billboard doesn't want no one to know this. Now I understand why Jay-Z and Nicki Minaj say Billboard, like we used to look up to number one.
Also, I'm being honest and fair. Again, I think Nicki is all the way honest with what she is saying. But here's the thing. She's within the game. She's in the game. That's my problem. You can't really criticize the game and be in the game. Nicki's going to say they're paying blogs. Here's the thing. You have 2 type of artists. The artist that knows what's happening for them and the artists that think they that. There's only 2 artists. The one that don't know and think it's them, and the other artist that says, damn, they piping me up. There's no other type of artist. Artists like Drake and Nicki, because of their grind, and yes, they got a great fan base, they look at it and say, that's them. If you think there's no bells and whistles and magic tricks being done, come on. That's what I'm saying. And I'm saying that for every artist. Kendrick probably feels the same too. Nah, it's just me. I talk that black power shit. Go talk to your digital guy, bro. Ask him how many bots he bought. He's not going to tell you. That's the point.
I mean, to Billboard, but now it's like we know you can, it's all manipulated, right? It's all fabricated. You can buy number ones. This is what these artists do, right? And it's not fair. I want you to see this. Gooba streamed 50 million streams, and this is what they're counting only. 50 million streams, right? They only counted, look what Billboard counts. They only counted 31 million. Billboard illegally disqualified 20 million streams so it can drop down, and the people who bought the number one, which was Stuck With You.
Game is game, people. When I'm telling y'all this, listen, I work with the motherfuckers and I'll tell you what happens. 6ix9ine didn't get that number one because at the time, Billboard printed a magazine. When Billboard printed a magazine, the person who had the number one song in the country was the cover. 6ix9ine had allegations of child pedophilia. 6ix9ine had all type of really heinous things still hanging over his head. I don't know if you remember. I don't want to bring it up. And by the way, those things were false. But they didn't want to put that guy on the cover. They were, what's going to sell more? Travis Scott? It wasn't Travis Scott this time. It was like Ariana Grande or something. My bad. Ariana Grande or 6ix9ine? So, you know what they did? They postponed the charts. They said, we're going to do some reviews. We're going to look over a couple of things. We're going to validate your numbers, and maybe we'll give him a chance. We'll give him a couple more hours to submit their numbers. Again, a corporate decision got made. Who do you want to be on the cover? Who's going to sell more magazines? Billboard is a magazine company at heart. It's now turned to digital, and now we rely on it for charts and analytics. Okay? Billboard was a magazine, though. So when they were still doing print magazine, who do you want to put on that magazine to sell covers? You make that decision. Both artists are really close in the race. Who do you give the edge to? You make a business decision. Game is game. Here's the thing. I'm saying the same thing to 6ix9ine. I'm saying to Drake. I'm saying to Kendrick. I'm saying to Nicki. You can't complain about it. Yeah, he was on an independent label, but your label boss is the son of the most powerful nigga. Lucian Grange, his son, Elliot Grange, is your boss. He was running your label. You're in the game. Can't get mad at the game. This is Squid Games. That's what the music business is. You take the rules. You know you're in a rigged game, and you got to try to find a way to win. That's it. There's no, you could complain about it, but if you think the game doesn't stop if you mad, remember that.
Can go to number one. Look at this. 31 million, which places us at 38 points. When in 5th place, you were stuck at 32 points. 6 credit cards buys you 36 credit. Listen.
I remember this day. This nigga was losing it. Game is game.
You can buy number ones on Billboard. I'm letting you know that. We just...
That's a fact. You can buy it.
Did a whole investigation, and their best answer was
Somebody said, how far does Botton go? Obliterated Bum. Thank you for that $2. That's a great question. Before Botton, it was buying records. It was buying records. Now, it was even a more costly method. I could give y'all actual rates for streams that artists could buy. Right? Also, here's the thing, too. Most artists and people directly connected to the artists and executives, they don't know the botters. They don't know the botters. The industry currently is outsourced. Remember I told you. I could tell you this personally because I used to work intimately with every label. These labels have fired all their people. So they'll get 2 people. You guys are in charge of marketing. 2 people can't work 40 artists. So you know what they do? They use the money, the budget, and they hire 10 agencies. They assign artists to the agencies, and the agencies do the work. The agencies are not part of the record label. The executive of the record label don't know what the fuck the agency's doing. They only know results. Hey, we need to get this amount of streams for the first week because we need this artist to get this first week's sales. The marketing people are going to go to the agency. Yo, our goal is to get this streams. They give their analytics. He's already streaming 8 million per week for this. So let's add the 8 million plus what we anticipate with these new songs. We need this amount for the next week that we could get that particular record sales. You know what the agency says? It's going to cost you this because we're going to do, and they give a plan, trust me. So we're going to run billboards over there. We're going to have you all in Times Square. We're going to have buses wrapped around with your album cover. We're going to go over there and get this. We're going to, usually and they have analytics. When we wrap buses with your album cover, that usually goes with a uptick. You'll get like 2%. So this is how you get this number and blah, 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 blah. They're selling bullshit. What they're really selling them is, we're going to give you a reason for you to give us $1 million budget. And yeah, we're going to put up billboards and shit like that, right? But when all else fails, yeah, we got you on Akademiks. We got you on all these blogs. That's great. Yeah, that's cool. But when all else fails, yo, hit the botters. Yo, we're down 30 million streams. Hit the botters. So how much it costs? And there's a price list for that too. We need 30 million on Spotify. We need 20. It's harder on Apple. Trust me. I talked to the bots. It's harder on Apple. We need 20 million on Apple. Oh shit. We need on Amazon Music. Yo, we need the YouTube botters. Make sure you get the comments and the likes. Cause you know, niggas will see. You see on Spotify, you bought the views. There's no comments. You don't know what's real. You see on YouTube, if you got 10 million streams and 50 comments, it's like, hold on now. Hold on. And then you got only 5,000 likes. Wait, 10 million views, 5,000 likes. And what? It won't make sense. So you got to do the whole package to YouTube. But on Spotify and on Apple Music, it's whatever. This is full facts I'm telling you. I'm just trying to tell you that when people say, when did it start? The music business, I keep telling y'all, and I feel like I'm preaching, but just endure what I'm saying. We're going to get to this stuff. Don't worry. I want to ask y'all a question. I know y'all smart. The mere fact y'all sit and watch me for hours and we talk a lot about the music business. We get in bullshit, but we talk about the music business a lot. Y'all are very smart. And y'all are interested and y'all have active minds. Let me ask you this question. Think as a business owner. If you have a multi-billion-dollar business that is based on you get money for hit records, but the idea of a hit record is unpredictable. I compare it to catching lightning in a bottle. If the probability of a hit record coming out is catching lightning in a bottle, that sounds like gambling, right? Would you base a multi-billion-dollar business on gambling? Oh, we don't know when we'll pop off. We don't know when we'll get a Drake or find the next Drake. So, no true business. Imagine if McDonald's is like, well, we don't know when the next quarter pounder is going to. No. We don't know how much sales we'll get. No. You need every business need predictable shit. So you know what the music business done over time? We got to equalize certain shit. They realized programming for people. That's why payola existed. Oh, if we just play a record enough, people will believe it's good. All right, good. The one thing they've never been able to finesse, and they tried it too. Shit, Atlantic tried it with one of them niggas, APG, when they were coming up with, they would approach artists with a folder of records to say, we had a writing team, we had a production team, all go to a writing camp and create these what's tested hit records. You just record this record, it's a hit, and you put it out. We don't have to do the guessing game with music no more. That's what they were doing at Atlantic. That's why they started signing influencers. Jake Paul, Bad Baby, that's what they did. They literally did this. Because the most unpredictable, that's what I say, is gambling. If you put an artist and you have a $250,000 budget for 6 months for them to smoke weed with their friends, back and forth, Ubers, runners, they're in the studio for 6 months every night in an Airbnb where they're fucking bitches, that's what it costs. Actually, even more sometimes. To get a top artist, it's a recording budget, $250,000. So you spend $250,000. What's the likelihood that that artist got a hit record? You don't think that's gambling? That's gambling. That nigga could be in there just fucking off, got addicted to drugs. He ain't show up for the studio for 2 weeks. He beefing with his bitch. All type of shit happens. So how the fuck do you make sure that the $250,000 you spent for a nigga to be in a studio is going to come back? You got to control these other valves. Well, we'll pick the best of whatever records you made, and now we got to work it. Okay, how do we work it? Well, radio was one thing. We got to make sure radio plays it, force feeds it to the audience, brainwashes them. We got to make sure they're visible. They look like they're popping. We got to make, when people are driving down the highway, you see them on a billboard. That's what happens. A lot of music is an illusion. Like, a lot of people think they pick what's hot. The record labels spend the most amount of money, even usually more than making the music, on convincing you it's hot. Because that's the only way you reduce the factor of the gambling. Because making a hot record is gambling. I don't care how great of an artist it is. As good as I think Drake is, if Drake went in the studio 10 times, his success rate of making a smash, now granted, he's a big name, so anything he puts out would chart, but a smash, maybe 5%. Think about that. And that's the GOAT. The best there is. If Drake, say 20 times he's in the studio, it's going to be one time he comes out with a God's plan. What do you think that Joe Schmo artists, they're in the studio 3,000 times and they're not having a fucking hit record. How does a record label survive? Just once you think about the music industry like that, you'll realize why everything is fixed and why everything has to be rigged. That's the thing about when I hear Drake fans saying, Drake ain't going to expose shit and he ain't going to change nothing. Because the music industry only will ever exist when everything is rigged. It cannot be a free-for-all because this is not gambling. Go to a casino. It has to be rigged. Radio, marketing has to be rigged. Has to. Or else you will hear record labels hemorrhaging money. And the amount of artists that they even put money behind will just go down. Remember I told you that. Okay. So, with that in mind, now you have the basis of why and how the music business should be looked at, right? 6ix9ine said whatever. I was explaining the history. So before, back in the day, and when you say, the question from the person who donated was, when did it start? Well, botting is just easier because the first way is not only radio programming and shit like that, which is kind of like botting too, in a certain type of way. Because if you're artificially putting in radio spins for a song that shouldn't have radio spins because you're doing payola through some weird means, so you're pumping it to an audience, hoping they will react. And even if they don't react, those what's called BDS, which is the spins of the record that is being incentivized by money, it affects, to this day, they haven't taken this out of Billboard. Radio spins still, which could be paid for. Do you get what I'm saying? So there's bots everywhere. Where's the thing about streaming bots? Botting existed in radio too. It's called payola. And then the first form of botting was record labels buying their own records. So Nielsen is it's a data company. It basically looks at the data and the stats for entertainment. They do it for television. They'll come back and be like, this is the TV ratings. Okay, they've partnered with some other companies, and there's actually a company that does that too. But they'll do it for TV ratings. They'll do it for music listens. It's any type of consumption. Because you know why? Again, remember, you got to think about the business. The business is, if we invest $250,000, how do we turn that into $2.5 million? How do we 10x it? And gambling is not how you 10x it. You ever been to a casino? You ever brought $250 in there and trying to turn it into $2,500? How many times are you successful? How many times you lost your money? No company's going to base it on, I think I got a hunch. So all these things exist because of it. So when we're thinking about the music business, you have to always keep that in mind. Okay, so record labels used to buy their own records. Nielsen, which is a data company, because it was hard to figure out what sales were. There was nothing as streams where it was just has a tally you could just look at that Spotify would give to you. The only way they would do, because they would have to wait for every store to report, they started going with record shipped, which means an artist would be platinum. And by the way, the RIAA, which is a certifying agency, that they're the ones who say you're platinum, gold. In certain markets or certain countries, they go silver. Like, you could actually go silver in like Jamaica or go silver, like I believe in the U.S. Not the U.S., UK. They give out plaques. They don't go off sales. They go off records shipped, which means if my label shipped out 1 million records and not one person bought it, I'm still platinum. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's all about these metrics. So you have one company, RIAA, they go off records shipped. Now, granted, I'll give them credit. Now in the streaming era, they do an audit. So, like, for example, my song with 6ix9ine, right? Like, I have a song with 6ix9ine. And by the way, even Blues Clues, right? I'm using myself because these are real things. If I want a plaque for it being gold, I would pay a fee, and they would do an audit. They would look at any record shipped. Obviously, nobody's sold no physical record for that song. They'll do an audit. They'll come back, and if they say we passed the audit, they're like, you're gold. And now they certify it. Then you pay another fee for them to ship you a plaque. That's just how it works, honestly. That's how it works for everybody. Okay. And it'll have their logo on it, the RIAA. That's why nobody else, if you see a plaque and it doesn't have RIAA, it's fugazi. I know Spotify put their own plaques out, but people don't respect Spotify plaques like that yet. Okay. So you have RIAA that goes off record shipped, but you could finesse it by the label that's putting the record out, not even buying it, just shipping. They don't even care who bought it. So it could be on the in the stores, nobody bought it, it's still platinum because it's about record shipped. Now Billboard's is different. Billboard did it one better. Billboard is going to care about supposedly records scanned. So yeah, you ship the records, but their numbers is records scanned. So yeah, you shipped 300 records to this one Best Buy. But if 20 or let's say 200 got sold that week, they'll count the 200 and they'll move to the next store and they'll tally it up. Okay? Now here's the thing. You could finesse that too. There's a finesse everywhere. That's what I keep telling y'all. Game is game. Everything has a finesse. That's the only point I'm trying to make to y'all. Everything has a finesse. And all these artists are finessing. It's a steroid era. So in the first finesse with RIAA, your label ships out an exorbitant amount that you ain't going to sell, but you get instantly certified as gold or platinum. Right? The second finesse, which is the Billboard finesse, and this is the first Billboard finesse. There's been finesses because they change the rules often. Travis Scott's the king of it because as soon as they change the rules, he figures out he's like a math whiz. As soon as they change the rules to stop the finesse, he figures out the new finesse 30 seconds later. Travis Scott's the GOAT. Not him, because Travis ain't that goddamn smart. It's his team. And listen, this is where you gotta know the people behind the scenes. Travis has a really smart team. They figured it out like that. Cool. So, but the first Billboard finesse was buy the records and then slowly return them. Yes, I don't know if you know this. Over time, so when a record is bought, it's +1 sales. When it's returned, and yes, you could usually return CDs, it would be -1. So you'd buy them first week to get that first week impact because hip-hop started becoming first week oriented. And you would start kind of either give them away at concerts. Some people do that. You give them to the street team, or sometimes they'll do a organized return. Okay? So that's the finesse right there. There's been 20 other Billboard finesses because they keep trying to be like, oh, we don't want finesses, and then people still finesse. But then the streaming finesse came after. And the streaming finesse was, at first, the finesses wasn't bots. It was, I forgot what it was. It was kind of like, I guess it was always bots. But it's different type of bots. Nowadays, the bots that they have going on, it was a reason why I remember Spotify changed. Hey, well, actually, I think it might have been Billboard. They changed it. Hey, you got to listen to a song a certain amount. Because they had gotten bot farms to be like, they're going to listen to the song for just 1 second over the time for it to count as a stream and move on. You get what I'm saying? And also, there would be a time limit. Like, for example, I don't know if you know on Spotify. If you keep stop, play, the same song, it's not going to count as 20 different times you streamed it. It's one stream. However, if you play a certain amount of time, then you stop, and you wait a certain amount of time and play it again. 2 streams. So now it's a computer game. It's a complex computer game. That Spotify, they're never going to say it because their stock price is going up. Their shit would plummet. So respectfully, I got friends that work at Spotify, but maybe they don't even know. You know why they wouldn't know? Because that would be privileged information that if people bought a stock for a publicly traded company and it's known that the money that is being paid out or that's coming in from these inflated streams are not real, that stock price drops. So that's why they don't blast these artists. You think that's, and that's my problem also with Spotify. You see, Apple supposedly does a better job, but Apple never speaks on anything. And Apple's situation is bigger than music. They sell iPhones. You know, like, don't even put streaming numbers out. Like, they're like, we don't go fuck with Travis Scott sold this tweet. Get out of here, nigga. You want us to put out a tweet that he had the highest streaming rate? Fuck out of here, nigga. Buy an iPhone, nigga. Buy a fucking MacBook Pro. That's a reality. But Spotify, they've been announcing every month. It's about to be a year now. Yo, we removed mad fake streams. And I think they used to, because I remember one time they used to mention, or they mentioned an artist that did. They don't do it no more. They don't want to embarrass the artists. The labels who own part of Spotify got in there and said, yo, hold on now. Game is game. Game is game. If you find out that one of our artists finessed and the finesse was so bad you caught it, just don't blast them because it's going to hurt our artists. Just silently remove it and we'll have some internal talks. So again, the finessing continues. Okay, I'm probably boring you guys a little bit with the idea, and I hope the main point I was trying to say, and I hope the takeaway is, if you're in a major record label system, the finesse is happening. Game is game. That's it. Whether you're Drake or the nigga who's on the shelf, how much the finesse is how much the label gives a fuck about you at the time. And I think Drake gonna learn that. Because if the labels want to say, oh, let's teach this nigga a lesson will be taught. Just like how, and this is where I'm always confused by Drake fans. If we want to believe, and I do believe, that the labels said, nah, this Kendrick shit finna go up, which they did, you have to believe they allowed Drake to get that big. It's not like they were like, oh, we're not gonna let Drake get that big, and Drake somehow got that big, like organically. No, nigga. Game is game. They allow what they want to exist, and they kill what they don't want. No favorites. Okay. So, I guess that whole, monologue or, that whole backstory is really key for me to play this audio. And this audio is the audio where Young Thug is in jail. And again, only the rapper Russ has ever really spoken on bought streams, but he was seen as a hater. Obviously, 6ix9ine did, but, people, 6ix9ine. But we finally get the proof that the purchasing of streams actually happened. Now, Young Thug is the owner of YSL, the label that is under 6ix9ine Entertainment. And one of his artists is someone named Sergio Wanatelli. Oh, shit. I was about to say Sergio Wanatelli. Sergio Kitchens, a.k.a. Gunna or Wanna. Young Thug is behind bars, speaking with his manager on the phone, saying, hey, hold on, actually, that's wrong audio. Saying, hey, remember we spent money to buy fake streams for Gunna's album, which was DS Forever. Listen to this.
Trying to do other shit. When he did his 2-album deal with me, Cash called me one day like, hey, what the hell going on with Gunna? Who's speaking for him? I'm like, wow. I'm like, oh, I'm there. He trying to get signed right here with Weeknd signed it. And he demanded he want, $20 million. Whoa. So I already done told him, like, whatever you want, just say it. I'm going to give you the money, whatever you want. Just on some we brother shit. Like, I know you can't go nowhere in this world and get no $20 million check.
Okay. I hate to pause it here. I know I'm talking too much today. I'm sorry. I want to juxtapose that idea to the entire situation. remember, on the biggest of level, we're talking about Drake and UMG. Do you see how, in one sense, Drake might be... You heard what Thug said? I know you can't get that $20 million that you're trying to get from nowhere else. Why is he saying that? Because Thug is saying, and this is what he means, this hype you think you have that demands that, I created. Actually, it's fake. I bought it. I paid for it. UMG, part of their disposition of Drake is, you can't negotiate against us when your leverage and power we create. Drake could disagree, but I keep saying, game is game. The only way to show is to go independent. You cannot show them from within their system. They create everything in the system. This is the matrix. You can't, you think you're going to be in the matrix and fight it from within? Good luck. The same way they brought you in, made you this, yes, they could turn you to that. May not have to be with a battle. Maybe this is the way they probably try to bring Drake down a notch. But it could have been, all right, cool, let's cut the radio, let's cut this, let's cut that. All right, we're going to do half of this. Let's see him be the Drake that sells $700K again. That happens. Let me keep playing.
No label. You're not doing numbers like that. You alright, but you ain't doing that like that. You know, like the number one album you just had right now. I paid for you to have a number one album. You didn't. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, earn a number one album over the.
Okay, that's such an important thing, and this went over people's heads when they heard it, because people only care about bots. Let me ask you a question. I'm gonna put it in perspective with you. You got a business, and tonight we're all independent entrepreneurs. You have to put your entrepreneur hat on. You got a business, and you could influence your employees' performance, whether they do good like this or they do good like this. By the way, this is baked into the music industry, chat. I'm telling you. I'll give you the exact definite. Well, let me just finish that point, and I'm going to give you the definition or example. If you could influence your employees' performance that they perform here or here, well, it's probably good for the company when you have them perform here, right? Until it's time for you to pay them, it's probably good for you to have them perform here because they have less leverage. If you could dictate how much leverage they have, when it gets to the time that you need to pay them, it's a performance review, you're probably gonna be like, oh, well, you fucked up here, here, and here in the last 2 weeks. But otherwise, you want them to be performing great. It's what happens exactly every time an artist has to re-up. Didn't I mention the NBA YoungBoy stuff? I said YoungBoy is nearing the end of his deal with Capitol. They got no more incentive to spend a wild-ass bag on promoting his music, because if they do that and give him this incredible buzz, he might take that incredible leverage and go somewhere else and get an incredible bigger check. You're cutting your nose off to spite your face. So you know what you do? When it comes to end of the contract, you don't spend as much. You start chilling out. Anytime you see an artist beefing with their label, they're never beefing on the first album. They're never even beefing on the second. It's always when the last album's coming up. Always. The label has no more incentive. This is why I keep telling y'all, you can't expose the game from being in the game. Because Drake never had a problem with UMG until his last album of a historic deal. Right? Yeah, they're not trying to pay you. You think you're going to get $1 billion. They're going to sound nuts going to their investors saying, yeah, we paid one artist $1 billion. The stock is going to drop. They're like, what? Y'all just throwing out what? I think you guys get it.
The weekend, my boy. I paid for that shit. I never said that to him. I never told him that. You know, cause we just got the plug on that. Like, you never earned the #1 album. I spent 50 extra grand buying motherfucking streams, $50,000 buying streams for you.
Now, this is another thing that went over people's heads. They're trying to calculate how much was spent. I'm here to tell y'all what Young Thug is talking about is not the total spend on bots for Gunna's album. Let me tell you, this is why these labels pay, it's actually a lot of money. Tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars for a Luminous subscription. It gives you the full demographics of, like, basically tell you how many people on each block. That's how detailed it is. That's listening to these artists, right? And it's data. It's data, right? You know, data that you could use. It helps you with tours. It helps you with marketing, whatever. When an artist drops an album, I know you'll see, like, my page and everybody else say, it's on pace to do this. The actual label knows it down to a science before us. That's why they pay the big bucks for those subscriptions. That's their job. The $50K that Young Thug is talking about was when he realized the race was going to be close. And I seen Gunna fans trying to be like, oh, yeah, no, it was only 2,000 streams, and I seen them remove it. Nah. This happens a lot. As the week progresses, when you're in a battle, you're going to have to keep doing. And by the way, Billboard gives them early reports, too. We don't see those. The $50K that Thug is talking about, that he spent personally, was when it was neck and neck. There's already bots in the label budget. There are bot purchases in the label budget already. But that's the steroids. Everybody got them. So when you're hearing the $50K and you're like, oh, it took 50. No. It took $50K. It was a close race. It took $50K to bump him over the hill. It's not $50K just entirely. It costs a lot way more than that.
For you to be weak. Right. And Cash know the same plug, so Cash could have did the same thing. But
chat, when you listen to these conversations, a lot go over your head. I'm going to break it down for y'all. You know what he says? Cash, which is Cash XO, the guy who owns XO. Say he know the same plug. By the way, they all know the same plugs. Kung Fu Kenny people know the same plugs. Like, we call it the K-bots, but these bots have been existed. We just termed it the K-bots. They all know the same plug. This is very interesting here, chat. Remember I told you this is the music business. Game is game. When Thug says Cash could have did the same thing, let me ask you a question. Cash gets the same information. Cash gets the same information as 300 and YSL and Young Thug. Weeknd is perceived as a way bigger artist that has a way bigger budget. They got the same bot plug. Why not let Weeknd blow that nigga out the water? Drop $2 million on the bots. Why not do that? I'll throw this in the air. Let's look at Weeknd contracts. This was the album. We were shocked. We never seen Weeknd sell like that. What did he sell afterwards? The next album, he doubled it. Let me ask you a question. Could it have been negotiation time? Game is game. Remember, I tell you. What we're seeing, we're hypnotized a lot of times. Oh, what? You think on a good day, Gunna is out selling Weeknd, my nigga. Weeknd does stadiums. Come on. Just start. Let me show you. Weeknd just did a crazy stadium tour. By the way, just broke a record for highest grossing tour by a black male artist. Right? Okay. I'm just trying to show you it's much deeper than what you think. let's go to his discography. Discography. They were talking about Dawn FM. It dropped the same time. Okay? Somehow the bundles weren't bundling at this point. But let's check this. Let's go to commercial performance. The Weeknd sold 148,000 albums. I'm going to show you this. It streamed 173 million times. 148,000. It debuted number 2 behind Gunna. Okay, let's go to this next album, which is 2 years later. Oh, shit. Never mind. It's around, where's the... Trying to get to the album. Fuck. All right, I'll go here. Hurry Up Tomorrow. Actually, yeah, this was released this year. Damn. He dropped the album this year? Oh, fuck. I thought it was like end of last year. Okay. Anyway, let's just go to commercial performance again. Give me a second. Give me a second. Fuck. Goddamn. Where's commercial performance? And by the way, chat, I did not look none of this up before. Okay, here we go. Okay. First week sales. Chat. I'm going to explain this slowly, but you got to have a brain to understand. As I keep saying, this is the Matrix. That's the industry. That's why Drake will never win. You can't beat the Matrix, not from inside the Matrix. You got to leave. You got to be independent. You got to be independent and show that you could do it when they're against you. Because they ain't, no matter how much he sue, they ain't against him yet. They're going to temper him down. They're going to be like, we're going to tone you down. But they ain't against him yet. Because he changes and fucks the whole shit up if he goes independent. Look at this. The Weeknd. Remember the last album? I got to put both of them up. I'm sorry. Fuck. I want to keep both of them side and side. The Weeknd. And you just tell me what you take from this. And if you don't take nothing from it, fuck it. Maybe I'm just not that good at my job and I'm not spelling it out for you. Here we go. Dawn FM. He loses to Gunna and sells 148K. He loses to Gunna and sells 148K. The next album. Clearly number one, gets 490,000 sales. Look, so he goes from 148 to 490. Here's the interesting part. And by the way, I'm not accusing the Weeknd of botting. It's actually the opposite. Look, in the week he did 490, he streamed 171 million. In the week he did 148, he did 173. He did more streams the week he sold 148,000 than the week he sold 490. Let me further crystallize this point. The music industry and what we see in sales usually sometimes got shit to do that we don't know what's going on. Nigga could have been up for a re-up in a contract. Nigga, we can't make you look that hot when we trying to re-up. You're in the Matrix. Game is game. You need to do a 148 to sign this contract. Once you do that 148, you get back up to 400,000, nigga. That's how it works. That's how it's the same thing with Drake. They might just use the battle for Drake. Oh, you want 700 million? Oh, wait. You think you're too popping, my boy. Let us set you straight. That's the point. So you hear even Young Thug admitting it. He thinks he's worth $20 million. But he thinks he's worth $20 million because he got a number one, but the number one's fake. We bought it. We gave him a number one. We artificially created a number one for him, and he thinks that's his worth, and he think he could get $20 million. If that don't crystallize my point that if you're in the matrix, which is the industry, you're in a fake game that creates your value, devalues you at any time, depending on your contracts, tosses you, twists you, does anything. The only way is to become independent. And even then, there's 20 different ways which they still try to influence the shit. Anyway, I'll keep playing this. If you didn't get this point with this whole thing that I did, you're lost.
But Cash, like, let it go. Cash just, like, stand down. Like, man, let the nigga go on the win. I ain't standing shit.
You see what he says? Me and Cash got the same plug to the same bots. But the weekend looked a little bit, that was an embarrassing look for the weekend, wasn't it? You lose to Gunna, and you're a huge mega superstar. You heard what Thug says? Cash was like, I'm gonna stand down. You think Cash is standing down for Gunna? There's probably something that happened during that time with Weekend. That's their business. But remember this is always the business of music.
Smack down like a player. You know, but he did a little deal. He got some little signs for a little nigga from his hood, whatever. Did the same shit, but he did a deal where he took their money. So these niggas, some young niggas too, these niggas like 17, 18.
Somebody said, I understand why Drake is yet to give Ak an interview. What does Thug got to do with Drake? Nigga, they're all in the fucking music business. I'm telling you, the whole music business is the same. They're all the same. My nigga, like, we're not creating a new industry for one nigga. This is all the industry, gang. They're all in the industry. Kendrick, Drake, name anybody, nigga. Even the dead niggas is still in the industry. You drop music on a major label, you're in the industry. One nigga is suing because he's saying this is what's happening. That's what you have a nigga here admitting it's happening. But he's admitting it. It's the game. What do you mean it got what it got to do with Drake? Drake's lawsuits acting like niggas didn't bot before him. Everybody probably got botted. Now, does the label strategically use their botting? Probably. Is your contract about to be up? Well, no bots for you. Yeah. I guarantee Drake signed his contract with Universal. We start seeing shit we'll never see. We're like, oh my God. That's all you got to do. Sign on the dotted line. That's what you're in the matrix. Sign on the dotted line. Let me put it like this. If Drake signs with Universal, whatever bullshit deal they're trying to get him, they probably lowball him like a motherfucker. In the next 2 years, you would forget Kendrick exists. Trust. They're not loyal to Kendrick. They don't give a fuck about Kendrick. They don't give a fuck about Drake neither. But these niggas, that's a plantation. Boy, you gonna get down and lay down. Do you get what I'm saying?
Like real kids, baby. The oldest one of them probably be 18. The oldest one, no, probably about 20. The oldest one probably be 20. It's like 5 of them. They probably like 16 to 20. Man, these niggas ain't got no tongue. These niggas ain't popping. Nobody in Atlanta ain't heard of them. They done did like 3-4 shows in the city in 2-3 years. Like these niggas done had 3-4 shows, and they shows be like goddamn $5,000. You know, it's on the behalf of Gunna and all that shit for sure. Like the show. You know, niggas booking you just because they like, oh, they Gunna new artists, they upcoming, they Gunna new artists, but they ain't got no song, they ain't put no music.
Now, this is why I gotta keep pausing it that you guys could really lock it in here. Part of what Thug is talking about, right? And part of his disposition is that he feels he's created artificial leverage for Gunna that has Gunna asking him for too much money. He wants $20 million. He's like, nigga, you're not a $20 million artist. I pump some fake shit into your shit to make you look like a $20 million artist. However, what Gunna is doing that I think he's also peeping, Gunna was trying to start his own label. You don't hear that? At the end, he started talking about, oh, Gunna, he signed some niggas, da-da-da-da. Bingo. That's another can of worms that you got to get to. Because that usually opens up problems. I'll put it like this with y'all. When Lil Wayne was an artist, just straight to Cash Money, all was well. Here's a Bugatti, da-da-da, you're great. Then the idea was, Wayne, you could start your own label. At first, he colored within the lines because he brought it in and became a joint venture. That's how we got Young Money, Cash Money. Birdman owned 51%, Wayne owned 49%. Thug, I know he's talking and you're only hearing hate, but you're hearing a nigga who understands the game on his level from where he's working with. Thug ain't a dumb nigga. Let me tell you this. Young Thug is a manipulator, but he's not dumb. Young Thug is a manipulator, but he's not dumb. Actually pretty smart. I'll give you some more proof. And by the way, we're going to play this again. I'll give you some more proof. Remember when we covered this? I want to show you how smart Thug is. Here we go. Right here. This is Thug talking about Baby's deal with P.
Hey, I talked to Wham on the phone. I said, what you think he going to give you out that money? I said, you think he going to give you $75 million or $100 million? He like, shit. I'm like, be always real. Do you think he going to give you $75 to $100 million on that deal? Be always real. He like, hell no, I don't think that nigga gonna do it right like that. But Scooter Braun offered Wham $150 million. Scooter Braun told Wham, I want to buy your rights, so I'm gonna give you $150 million. Wham tell this nigga, nah, I'm cool. I gotta bring Pete to a meeting. Man, that nigga went straight around Wham and called Pete and bought the whole label from Pete. The whole conversation started from Scooter Braun trying to buy Lil Wham, trying to buy him out of the deal too. He wanted to buy Wham out of the deal, like.
Now, I'm getting a little bit of phone, and this is, not trying to drop exclusive because I'm not going to give a source, but Scooter wouldn't agree with what he's saying, supposedly. Scooter supposedly didn't offer Wham shit, but who knows? Maybe that, I don't know. But supposedly he didn't. So this might be a part of Thug's manipulation. Or Thug got fed bad information by Baby. I don't know. Or maybe they get offered that. Who knows? Let's explore all possibilities. But that's not the point of why I was saying Thug is smart. He's a manipulator, but he's really smart. He's smarter than the average bear. And I'm wondering, maybe that's why Thug was playing the game of telephone so much. Because he realized that, especially, and I hate to say it, even somebody like Lil Baby, maybe you could manipulate them, and maybe even other artists too. I'm gonna show you the manipulation in a second.
I want you to be with me. Well, like shit, you gotta talk to P. You gotta talk to P about that. Man, nigga.
By the way, remember the first way he started talking about P, and remember P owns QC and Baby signed to it. He first started bringing it up on a Savage call. Yo, no, it was with Mariah the Sciences, actually. He says, man, I don't know why Wham fuck with a rat. So there's two ways how I think it's manipulative, that he's trying to manipulate Baby to not fuck with his label owner. He's saying, yo, you're a gangster. Yo, you know that your label owner's a rat? By the way, let me put this in the air. Young Thug was cool with Meek Mill. Meek Mill had deals with Roc Nation. Roc Nation CEO was this person that was a informant that wore wires. Why he ain't getting Meek Mill here and start saying, why are you with Roc Nation? why he not trying to get in other people here that work with Rock Nation. The point what I'm trying to say is he figures out what each person, a manipulator is going to figure out what you care about and use whatever leverage to try to get you to do what they want. Because that's not their principle all around. So he's picking you, baby. And he's saying, yeah, yo, I thought you was a real street nigga like me. Yo, why you fucking with a rat? Now, maybe that didn't work perfectly. The next thing he came with was, damn, not only you fucking with a rat, but y'all niggas just sold a label. He ain't give you nothing. Making it seem like he's getting robbed. Now, I don't know if Young Thug had interest in signing Baby. I don't know. But it damn well seems like the strategic playbook of a manipulator.
He crossed that nigga red hot, worst way. I'm on the phone with him. He just like, man, that nigga Scooter Braun try to have the same deal with me, the same me with me. I tell that nigga, I ain't really doing that without P. You know, I'm just.
Okay, so it looked like Baby told him that.
Solid. Man, P go take the meeting without playing and get the job business done. Of course, a nigga get the business done for $300-400 million for sure, but goddamn, bro. Hey, I talked to him on the phone. I said, "What you think he gonna give you out that money?" I said, "You think he gonna give you $75 million?"
Okay. Now, I'm gonna tell you why I think this is super manipulative, but he's smart. Because here's the obvious question that I would ask Thug, right? The obvious question I would ask Thug is, let me lay it out for y'all again. You know, I like these calls, me personally. It showcases behind the scenes in the music business. I keep telling you, who gives a fuck what a rapper is saying? It's the business of music that controls everything. It controls everything. If you really care about this culture and you like following the details and the intricacies, you have to understand the business. The money controls everything. So if you don't understand the business, you don't understand music. I'll say it again. You don't understand the business, you don't understand music. And the small minds are going to think about what they see on the blogs, but the more seasons you get, you're going to realize all of these things only get to the blogs once the money breaks down. There's a deal fucked up. That's what happens. There's a deal fucked up. Okay. So let me put it, and this is why I said Thug is he's smart, but he's also manipulative. Thug is saying to Baby, P sells QC for $300 million or I don't know if it was 300 or 375, whatever it is. Okay, cool. He says to Baby, well, why you ain't getting none of the money? Yo, damn, that nigga doing you wrong. You hear him on the call. Damn, he ain't gonna cut you $75 million. Here's the thing, and this is why I say Baby is easy to manipulate, I would think. Because, and again, I'm not gonna call him stupid, I'll call him naive. Shit, I mean, that's a compelling argument. Like, damn, I did kind of do the heavy lift in the last couple of years. Maybe I should get whatever Thug is saying, $75 million. Now, you know why I say Thug's a manipulator? Okay, read what this says. Hybe buys quality control for $300 million deal. Young Thug thinks out of the $300 million, the top artist, Baby, should get paid. Right? You follow. Let's go to this. .300 Entertainment, an independent entertainment company co-founded by Lear Cohen, Kevin Liles, Roger Gold, sells to Warner Music Group. The deal was reportedly worth $400 million. Young Stoner Life Records, YSL Records, is a subsidiary of .300 Entertainment. let me save you all the thinking. The same thing Young Thug telling Baby he deserved money from was the same thing that he was basically in when 300 got sold to Warner. Because 300 has the deal with YSL. Let me ask you a question. You think he got $75 million? He's telling Baby go get the 75. You think he got 75? Let me just pull up this guy's face right here. You think he gave Young Thug $75 million? Do you think he gave Young Thug $7 million? Do you think Young Thug... That's why I say it's manipulative. Because your label got sold too. You ain't getting. Thug ain't getting no goddamn $75 million. Man, y'all niggas stop lying, man. Nigga, I talked to niggas in the industry. They told me Thug got nothing. I would love for Thug to say otherwise. Shit, because I'm working this story behind the scenes. I'm working this story behind the scenes, baby. Somebody just said it right. Somebody just said, I ain't gonna say those words. I ain't gonna say that word, I mean, you know. If a nigga won't give you the money, you think you finna get it from him? You think he about to break you off something? Okay. Okay. That's the point. So Thug, his label gets moved over to Warner. YSL, because it's under 300. They sell 300 valued at $400 million, partly because they have YSL and you, Gunna, and everybody else under YSL is kicking and moving. But you don't get $75 million. Suppose you ain't getting nothing. But you telling Baby, yo, go to P and go get your bread. He should break you off 75. It's manipulation because you put a nigga in a situation that when you were in the same situation, you went along happily not getting nothing. But you're telling him if he don't get nothing, you're getting robbed. Now, I know some people might be like, well, maybe he learned from his mistake. Or maybe he know how to get a nigga to start looking at the people he's in business with like he's being taken advantage of. Because, tell me if I'm wrong, I know he moved to YouTube. But I seen Thug and Kevin Lyles, and Kevin Lyles showed up to court. They look like they was all cool. He not mad at these niggas, and they ain't give him nothing. They ain't give him shit. They ain't break him off no 75. I'll leave that there. As I said, classic manipulation. You got nothing in the deal, but you tell that nigga if he don't get $75 million, he getting robbed. Damn near. Game is game. Obviously, when I say, that's why I said Baby would be naive, and I think he was naive. Because if you're getting manipulated by Young Thug, like, I don't even think Young Thug is the sharpest knife in the drawer, but he is sharp because he understands the music business way more. Way more than these niggas. Way more. That's the thing. Okay? All right. Now, let me play this clip one more time, and then we're going to go on to this next clip where Thug even talks about, and this is why I say Thug is smart. The reason why Thug knows about the bots and stuff like that is because Thug's not only an artist, he's an executive, and he's smart enough. And by the way, I'm going to be honest with you. I'll just put this picture up one more time, and I won't say a word. If you're saying, how does, well, if Thug knows about the bots, every other artist knows about the bots. No. The person we mentioned that knew about the bots for the weekend is a high up executive. That's also huge in the management game as well. Very big deal. Well, how would Thug know about the bots and that other guy who's high up in the game? Where he probably learned it from? We'll just keep going. So let me just play this one more time in full, then we'll go on to the next clip.
Trying to do other shit.
Remember I told you, game is game.
You know, when he did his 2-album deal with me, Cash called me one day like, hey, what the hell going on with Gunna? Who's speaking for him? I'm like, why? I'm like, oh, I'm Nen. You know, he trying to get signed right here with Weeknd signed it. And he demanded he want, you know, $20 million. Whoa. So I already done told him, like, whatever you want, just say it. I'm going to give you the money, whatever you want. Just on some we brother shit. Like, nigga, I know you can't go nowhere in this world and get no $20 million check from no label. You're not doing numbers like that. You alright, but you ain't doing that like that. You know? Like, the number one album you just had right now, I paid for you to have a number one album. You didn't, you know what I'm saying, honestly earn a number one album over the weekend, my boy. I paid for that shit. I never said that to him. I never told him that, you know, God.
By the way, let me tell you this. And this is why I said Thug is also high up in the game. The convo he said he had with Cash gave him the courtesy to say, hey, Gunna is trying to get signed over here. Right? Basically giving him a chance to say, hey, listen, we're not trying to take your artist, brother. But what does that passively say? When Thug signs him and that's the first album, you need that artist to be happy. You need that number one. So they kind of almost, they tip their hat to Thug, they give him the information, but they also, he said, we got the same plug with the bots. They allow him to get the number one. They didn't fight him. They allowed him. Now, I think that's a bigger situation. Something was going on with Weeknd. I don't know. Now, granted, some people might be like, nah, that was the Weeknd throwback album. Remember, you know, it was Dawn FM. You know, you got the old look, this and third. Game is game. Ain't nothing coincidental, bro. Okay? But very interesting when you start peeling back the layers of what the conversation was really about. And this is just Young Thug just chatting.
We just got the plug on that. Like, you never earned a number one album. I spent $50 extra grand buying motherfucking streams, $50,000 buying streams for you to be weak. Like, and Cash know the same plug, so Cash could have did the same thing. But Cash, like, let it go. Cash just, like, stand down, like, man, let the nigga on the win. I ain't standing shit. Stand down, like a player. You know, but he did a little deal. He got some little signs for a little nigga from his hood, whatever. Did the same shit, but he did a deal where he took their money. So these niggas, some young niggas too. These niggas like 17, 18. Like.
Now that went over your head too. He's talking about Gunna doing maybe a label deal himself, or he's fronting it on some production company level. But he said he's using his leverage to get these young kids a deal, but he took all the bread. This just shows you how cannibalistic the music business is. But what I keep telling y'all, if you're in the business, you're in the major label system, game is game. It's all part of the game. Gotta accept it. Gunna was learning the game. Gunna signed two kids or two people who's 17 or 18 or whatever. Used his fame, his clout to front it. Got some huge budget. Took the majority of it. Probably was going to look at it and be like, oh, no, I'm going to get y'all along with features and I'm going to co-sign y'all. Obviously, shit went left.
Like real kids, baby. The oldest one of them probably be 18. The oldest one. No, probably about 20. The oldest one probably be 20. It's like 5 of them. They probably like 16 to 20. Man, these niggas ain't got no tongue. These niggas ain't popping. Nobody in Atlanta ain't heard of them. They done did like 3-4 shows in the city in 2-3 years. Like these niggas done had 3-4 shows, and they shows be like goddamn $5,000. You know, it's on the behalf of Gunna and all that shit for sure. Like the show, you know, niggas booking you just 'cause they like, oh, these Gunna new artists, they upcoming, they Gunna new artists, but they ain't got no song, they ain't put no music out, no nothing. They just doing shows. So these niggas like, man, we got a show coming up in about goddamn 3 weeks. We got a show coming up in 3 weeks. We just we want to put a song out so we can perform it at the show, cause we ain't got no song out. So we put the song out, fun little niggas and shit, whatever. These niggas go do the show. This lame man nigga take goddamn 2,500 from the young niggas. I'm like, man, nigga crazy.
Game is game. Gunna was learning the game.
I'm like, nigga, you know you signed to me and you make millions of dollars. I ain't never took $1 from you. Why the hell would you ever in your life accept $1 from these young boys, bro? These niggas kids. What the hell you finna do with $2,500, bro? Like, you finna make 5 young niggas split $2,500? You supposed to let all them get $1,000 piece, bro. What the hell is wrong with you?
Now, right there, I'm gonna give Thug some credit. I do think Thug had this like Machiavellian like spirit, and like definitely had this. I think he was trying to. I've heard like people say this a lot, like this whole John Gotti thing, and I definitely think he wanted to be like an overlord of like a lot of the shit going on in Atlanta. But he is generous. He is generous. As long as it folds up under him, he's generous. He's generous. He's not like selfish. I guess he was discussing Gunna to say, man, Gunna's a selfish nigga.
2,500 ain't finna do nothing in the world for you, boy. He like, boy, that's a deal they got. I'm like, boy, hell, got your mind fucked up, boy. You losing your sanity. Like, boy, that hoe got your mind fucked up. The worst way. Like, at this point, nigga, I just gave you $20 million. I just gave you a $15 million check. Ain't no way in the hell you spend no 2,500 from these young nigga, bro. These nigga got 4.
Nah, he said he gave now. Remember, he said he signed Gunna for 2 albums, $20 million. Right? Gunna turns in. This is how it works, chat. He turns in the first album because as soon as he signs the deal, right? I guess like remember Gunna's hot, like whatever. The deal was about to expire. He signs another 2-album extension or whatever, which is a 2-album deal, and he turns in DS Forever, and because it's a $20 million deal, it would work like this: $5 million for the option, so $5 million up front. You turn the album in, you get the other $5 million, right? Then they pick up the second option, or it's probably just already baked in the cake, and they give you another $5 million. And then when you turn in the second album, you get the other one. But they'll probably make a new deal by then. So he basically gave him $15 million because they're pretty much into the second album. So Gunna gets $15 million. And he says Gunna still is taking $2,500 from the guys he's trying to sign.
So, ain't no way in the hell you spend no 2,500. Man, it's crazy. Like, he's that type of shit. I think he'd just be like, oh, no. And then the shit was like, he would do his deal with me, and he ain't say nothing to me. He's sitting around me every day just chilling, kicking the brother shit, but going behind my back, trying to talk to other companies about signing. And I already done told him, like, whatever you want, just say it. Whatever you want. Before I even heard about him talking to companies or anything, I was like, shit, hey, you know your deal, look.
Now, here's the thing. I can't blame Gunna for that. Because that is part of realizing your market value. You have to, if you're just with one employer, and even if they said, yo, you got a blank check, write what you want, you might not know what the market offers for you. Like sometimes, you know, especially like newer artists when they're, you know, like say they're going to Rolling Loud or before they get an agent and they're going to get signed, and they say, how much you want for a show? And they don't even know what to say. They're gonna name the amount of money they think is a lot of money, but sometimes their value is way more than that. I ain't gonna lie to you. I just agreed to some shit recently, and I gave them a pretty decent price. The way they said quick, I'm like, fuck. The market probably is dictating that I'm probably worth twice this amount. So sometimes you got to play the game to kind of figure out what your true market value is, even if you're not gonna leave. And I wouldn't call that disloyal by Gunna. I would think that's just plain trying to find his market value.
He like, hell yeah. I'm like, shit, what you want?
Somebody said, man, you keep it in fair. No, you're not getting what I'm saying. I'm not saying he should go to another company. But he might have to go take some meetings to realize, yo, bro, right now, your value is $30 million. So what would happen is you would go to your brother, you would go to the guy who put you on and say, dog, yo, I'm gonna keep it a bean with you. It's right now the market value for me is 30. If you match it, I'm definitely staying here. And maybe Thug says, bro, I can't match the 30, but I got 25 for you. That right there, you never know. Gunna, you know, this is how these regular business work. It might be like, you know what, man, I fuck with you so much, I'll take a haircut, pause. Like, I'll take that discount, whatever. I'm going to do the 25 with you, even though niggas offering more. But at least it's more than the 20 that you thought that was the max. So, again, this is business. You can't knock somebody for trying to see what their market value is.
Be like, I'm trying to really see now what I want. Be like, you know, I ain't really trying to hit you like that, big brother. You really whatever. I ain't on that one. I'm like, man, right. Whatever you want, text it to me. If you don't want to just talk like a man, just text it. Be like, all right. Never text nothing. I get a phone call from Cash saying he's talking to labels. I'm like, oh, okay, so you want to sign with labels? I'm like, all right.
Now, really, Cash is the one who kind of dimed out Gunna. Gunna was trying to figure out like what people would offer him, and Cash was like, yo, you know this nigga came over here trying to get a deal. That's your artist, right?
All right, let it go. Cash like, hell no, you got to sign with you. Like, you done created it, nigga. You got to sign with you. You got to re-sign with you. Finna give him the same money that anybody finna give him. I'm like, hell no, just let him go. So I guess
can you explain something to me?
Trying to do other shit. You know, when he did his 2-album deal with me, Cash called me.
Now, there's a longer version of this. Let me see if I can find it. I'm going to try to find it. Give me a second. I think it's this.
Yeah, I did a 5-album deal with him. I'm so 1,000. I took his 5-album deal down to a 3-album deal. But he put out 1 album already, so when we renegotiated and did the deal, it was just 2 albums, plus the one he had just put out. So he had a 5-album deal with, and I had a chance to exercise another album. That was the deal. I took that shit down to 2 albums.
Now, in all of this, and I'm being honest, man, I do think Thug comes across as a fair businessman. I do think so. However, he is manipulative in trying to get people to do business. I don't think he's greedy, but I think he's manipulative in trying to get people to do business.
So he like,
and I think he was trying to steal Baby from QC.
Damn, man, 1,000. And the only reason why I did it was because I was in a label deal, and I didn't want him to be tied to my label deal, because I'm like, they ain't doing what's right by me, so I'm spending more money than them. They ain't doing what's right, so I don't even want you tied to this label deal shit to the point where they can be eating off of your income. Like, this shit just straight yours, nigga. Like, I don't even want your income, and you signed to me. I'm entitled to 50% of all income for you. I ain't never took $1 in my entire life of living from him. Never, ever, ever. You know, shit like that. But I done seen him start a label, and I'm like, shit, you might as well sign your label to YSL and run it like that. I heard about him having talks with other people, trying to do other shit.
Now, I know what y'all are saying, chat, and y'all gonna have to be fair. I don't give a fuck about. Listen, my job as a music, like, you know, like a commentator, bro. I don't give a fuck about Thug or these other niggas. None of them. Like, I'm here to just break it down black and white. Okay, so I'm not here to bash Thug. I'm not here to make him look good. I don't give a fuck. I just want to be very clear. So I know some of y'all right now, y'all want to hate Thug, but we got to be honest. Or, like, I don't care if you like Thug. Who cares? What he just said, is that?
I heard about him having talks with other people, trying to.
Okay. So Gunna's trying to get his own label, and Thug said he heard that Gunna was doing whatever. I see some of y'all in the comments saying, no, he should have signed with Thug. Well, if you think that, what do you think about Drake, who didn't sign OVO underneath YMCMB? Is Drake disloyal? Because that's what you would be co-signing. If you're saying that, oh, because Gunna got his chance from Thug, he should have brought his label under Thug's label, which is YSL. Well, I got about 5 examples of people who got their label and brought it elsewhere rather than the person that put them on. Drake didn't bring his label under OVO. Kendrick didn't bring PG Lang on a TDE. These are very big examples. Kendrick and Drake did the same thing. Kendrick didn't put out music for 5 years because he wanted nothing to do with TDE in terms of putting out music and starting his label. PG Lang is not under TDE. OVO is not under YMCMB. How you going to be mad at Gunna? Now, we don't even know if Gunna was going to eventually bring it somewhere else, but why can't he look? Why?
I do other shit. You know, when he did his 2 album deal with me, Cash called me one day like, hey, what the hell going on with Gunna? Who's speaking for him? I'm like, why? Oh, I'm there. You know, he trying to get signed right here with Weeknd signed it. And he demanded he want, you know, 20 million. Whoa. So I already done told him, like, whatever you want, just say it. I'm going to give you the money, whatever you want. Just on some we brother shit. Like, nigga, I know you can't go nowhere in this world and get no $20 million check from no label. You're not doing numbers like that. You all right, but you ain't doing that like that. You know? Like, the number 1 album you just had right now, I paid for you to have a number 1 album. You didn't, you know what I'm saying, honestly earn a number 1 album over the weekend, my boy. I paid for that shit. I never said that to him. I never told him that, you know, cause we just got the plug on that. Like, you never earned a number 1 album. I spent $50 extra grand buying motherfucking streams, $50,000 buying streams for you to beat Weeknd. Right, and Cash know the same plug, so Cash could have did the same thing.
Right,
but Cash, like, let it go.
So this is a call we've listened to some parts, not all parts. I'm gonna skip past to a little bit right here.
25, I ain't finna do nothing in the world, chilling, kicking the brother shit, but going behind my back, trying to talk to other companies about signing. And I already done told him, like, whatever you want, just say it. Whatever you want. Before I even heard about him talking to companies or anything, I was like, shit, hey, you know your deal, look. He like, hell yeah. I like, shit, what you want?
Okay. By the way, I'm waiting for that full call to be released. Well, actually, no, that's part of a Mariah Scientist call. Okay. Now, the other call is... Do we get to the Dirk stuff? No. We get to... I haven't seen this. Let me see. Full call. So now Thug is talking to his mans about buying fake streams for his album. Okay? Because this is after he was so geeked about, yo, I want to beat this guy in sales. Well, he wanted to beat Gunna, but Gunna wasn't dropping on. They weren't dropping on the same week, but he wanted a number 1. Here we go. This is, by the way, this is Thug talking to his manager.
I said nobody has ever put out 2 number 1 albums from jail. Obviously, hopefully you're out by your birthday. You know what I'm saying? But if you weren't, like, that would be historic.
Right.
And even if Boozy moves, we still have to deal with Morgan Wallen because he's doing 100,000 every week, no matter what.
Who?
Morgan Wallen, the country guy.
Yeah, what the fuck is this nigga doing? Why the fuck didn't we think to put him on the album? Like, what the fuck?
I mean,
you think we gonna beat the boy?
Yo, my man, I'm not going to sleep until we beat him. So whatever happens.
I'll tell you. Yeah.
Whatever happens. So
beat the boy,
like, okay.
Beat the boy, then tell the boy you can't beat me, join me.
That's iconic.
Get on this song, young boy. Everything
you know what I mean?
Man.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's try to beat that nigga. You still got that plug, right? That shit what we did with none of them, you still got that plug?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Tell you. All right, my boy.
Yeah. All right, I love you. Call me an hour. I said nobody has ever put out 2 number 1 albums.
Okay. Now play it again that you could hear it a little bit clearer, but I do want to pull up Young Thug, Business is Business. Now that particular album was released 2 years ago. June 23rd, 2023. I believe it has 2 Drake features. Remember I told you back then there was supposed to be a Baby song and also a song with Dirk dissing Gunna, never ended up being on there, but there was 2 Drake features. The album actually debuted at number 2. It earned 89,000 units. Okay? Now, what's important is, let's look at number 1. They weren't even close, honestly. What's that? 19. They weren't even close, honestly. Morgan Wallen, I think, spanked him crazy. Oh, actually, it wasn't. Morgan Wallen did 110. He was number 1 with 110. And Young Thug did 90. Yeah, 89, pretty much 90. So that's who was their competition. I forgot who was the third. Who was third? Let's see. Also in the top 10, Thug 2 and Peso Pluma. Pluma was 3 and Kelly Clarkson was okay. Now, let me, and again, chat. This is, my stream is for people who like the music business. I've always said my goal, and I thought this was the thing that was going to get me on in the game. Not the Warren Chirac, none of this. I wanted to be the person who pulled the veil down. Because as a regular consumer, before I ever got into this, I was really intrigued by this music industry shit. I was really intrigued. I wanted to know all the intricacies. Okay, this is another one of those things. Chat. Most number ones, I would say, and I'm saying this, not that this is the official term, most number ones are negotiated. Now, that might sound wild because we're talking about bots, but let me explain. These labels that are competitors, Sony, Universal, Warner, they do speak. They know there's a big 3, and they know they're majors, right? They compete, but they speak. Not only that, subsidiaries of each label. For example, in Universal, let's say you have Interscope, and let's say you have Def Jam. Let's say within Warner you have Atlantic. Obviously, well, actually it's AMG now, Atlantic. But you have 300, and you have Warner Main, and on Sony you have Epic and whatever. The point is this. Niggas do they calling around, and usually the CEOs of these companies would be like, hey, listen, these are priority artists. Like, for example, if Drake is dropping, there's nobody important on Republic, usually, that will drop. This is why Drake and Taylor, well, first of all, Drake got to kiss the ring. He did already. There was actually rumors in that building, in Universal, that Taylor is fucking with Drake. I told y'all the story. When Drake was dropping Her Loss, Taylor allegedly, it was rumored in the building that she, and by the way, when Taylor tells Universal something, she's the queen. Like, Drake not even the king. Taylor's the queen. So whatever she says, they're doing. Okay? They don't give a fuck if Drake is dropping. They don't care who's dropping. Right? And Drake even rapped about it. I think he acknowledged it. Like, Taylor's the only person who can run me off a date. Yeah, it's Taylor's building. When Drake was dropping Her Loss, Taylor was flirting with the idea of dropping a bundle package, which was like a deluxe. Because you remember she was dropping mad deluxes called His Loss. Almost like playing off Drake's album title, but not with no music directed at Drake. But the idea has been, and if you look at her drops or her bundles or when she's announcing these little special drops, they have always coincided a week before or a week after Drake, or even during the same time, which usually is not the case. In the major label systems, if we have 2 behemoths dropping, they negotiate. Okay. It's not clear for you to drop during March 2nd to March 18th because the plan is she's going to drop March 4th and we want her to have 2 or 3 weeks at number 1. Then you could come in and take over the number 1. That's how it works. Like, this is not just like niggas just throwing shit out. All right. You come and you do this. It's like really negotiated. The labels, I keep telling you, music, if you think it's as chaotic as, let's see if a nigga that's smoking weed that's got 10 bitches in the studio and 50 guns, if they could make a hit song that makes $100 million. No, nigga. It's really structured. Not on the artist level, but when it gets up to that level, right? So the point is there's a schedule of who's going to drop and they negotiated with these artists to be like, hey, listen, yo, you should drop here. We have another priority here. And it makes it where every artist could get a chance at getting a number one, especially the big artists. Now, if you're not a big artist and you're not going to get a number one, nobody gives a fuck, right? Like, it's like, yeah, you could drop the same week as Drake because, nigga, you weren't going to be number one anyway. Like if you were going to sell, like, 15,000, like, they're not going to be like, oh, you can't drop when Drake drops. They'd be like, nigga, you had no shot to be number one. Go ahead, buddy. You know what I mean? Like, fine. We don't give a fuck. But if you're a guy who has a shot to be the number one, you're not going to drop when Drake drops. It's just not, like, stupid, right? Now, obviously, some artists could force the issue, which, you know, the label is going to reluctantly tell you, nigga, this is not going to be good for you. And also, we're not going to give you the budget that you probably would need. Why? Because we're pumping money down a black hole because you're competing against Drake.
They're saying there is footage of Young Thug allegedly telling, I don't know what is considered telling and what's not considered telling in the streets anymore. Sometimes they just speak and they're just saying whatever, but it's not true. And people say if you say anything at all, it's telling. You never know, but what X said is also true. If you're liked, you're not a snitch. If you're not liked, you're a snitch. So you just gotta wait and see. This isn't gonna get bigger or anything. Too many people like Thug. Thug influenced, like, he's basically like, I don't know. He's like on Future's level of like influence, like the Uzis, the people like that, like little babies, like all of Atlanta basically. Him and Future are like neck and neck. I say Future is bigger, like song wise and all that stuff, but influence wise, Thug is definitely up there. He started all the, feel me, yeah. But it's your boy Big A. Please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and let me know how you guys feel about it.